So we can't finish off this conversation without talking about what we think the next 4 years of provincial politics is going to look like in Ontario. Ashley, I'm going to throw it to you. The next 4 years with Doug Ford's new must-need mandate.
I think a lot of things that we thought were shocking won't shock us this time around. I think because we're so used to so much change. So whether it's going to be a new tunnel that they're building or any other really big plans that seem audacious or not costed, it's not going to surprise anyone. But I do think it is going to make more people want to run. I think more people will want to be involved or volunteer, because if they don't like the way the results ended this time around and they didn't get to the polls, that they know that they have to have a plan for next time. So I think there's going to be more support in our communities. I think there's going to be more of a grassroots movement that you're going to see happening, whether those are town halls, whether those are coffee meetups, but we are going to find more progressives to kind of come together to rebuild, because we have to.
Exactly. Hopefully with more than 11% of the seats and 30% of the vote. What's for the next 4 years look like under the new mandate?
It's going to be more costly. We're going to get less healthcare, less education. We're going to have more fantasy tunnels and a bunch of other stupid
More tunnels.
things. More tunnels, I know. That's where our tax dollars are going instead.
Where's the next tunnel going if not into the 401?
But it's gonna be hard for Ontarians in that. They're not going to have the services that they need. They're not going to have the housing built that they need in that. And it's going to be a really tough time for the people of Ontario to get through the next 4 years, I think.
I know, the next 4 years under Doug Ford's new mandate.
Well, I agree with what was said here, and I'll also just remind folks that in this election, 60% of voters almost were ready for a change. In 4 years, that's going to grow. I promise you.
Yeah. So let me pivot here now, because we have a federal election coming. I think we all have an idea when it's coming. So worst case scenario, depending on how you feel if you're watching at home, Pierre Poilievre wins the election. Hypothetically, because we don't know what's going to happen. What does 4 years of Poilievre combined with 4 years of Ford do to our province?
Well, I
do
feel like...
you need a minute? No.
Letting that a visceral reaction. I think that there's going to be a lot of change that people weren't expecting. I think that would really have more community social supports that are needed, because if certain rights are going to be taken away, and I'm thinking more in a female lens, right? Especially when it comes to healthcare and certain movements that we've seen in the States, if that trickles down this way, I don't think Canadians will stand for that. I think that there will be a major pushback.
Yeah, there is a large part of his caucus that's MAGA, but they're now deleting all those pictures on Twitter. What do the next 4 years look like, hypothetically? Poilievre, Ford, two Conservatives.
So I agree with what Ashley was saying that too, in that I think it would be even more challenging for the people of Ontario, especially for issues around healthcare and around education and community supports and community services and that, or social services, pardon me. We need a premier, that being Doug Ford right now, that's actually going to have a backbone and stand up to Pierre at the federal level.
I know.
I think I'll address your premise, because I think it's more up in the air if we see a change to a Conservative government at the federal level.
Hypothetically, I said. We don't know what's going to happen, right? Especially if you believe Frank Graves is polling.
So that's what I'll just address the premise there, because I think it's a big question and it's a lot of what ifs and what ifs. So I think I'll leave it there.
Okay, no, that's great. So how about this? $40 billion in election promises in this last election for the PCs. I've never seen PCs spend this much money, but I grew up under Mike Harris, which it was shred the budget, cut the budget. Is Doug Ford going to be able to keep up if he's got a wrangler sort of like Poilievre at the federal level, who is most likely going to turn off the taps? What do you think?
I think that's why we're seeing much like the pandemic with pandemic spending. So if tariffs are coming in, that's going to be the knee-jerk reaction from this government, is to say this is how we're going to have to use this money in order to get through this time.
So less than a minute. Is Axe the Tax going to affect Ontario? What's going to happen?
This is the most expensive provincial government in history. They're spending at the fastest rate ever. And I don't think that they're going to change their tune or their ways at all just because of a change on the federal level at all. If anything, they're going to start picking it up now because they have Conservatives and Conservatives on both levels.
Yeah, they've increased the debt, as you said, but they've not axed taxes. They promised, but municipal taxes have gone up because of downloading, and they haven't reduced it at the provincial level. So, I don't know. They're not keeping their promises, and I doubt that we're going to see them axing the taxes.
The most annoying thing, they cut the gas tax, potholes this big on the QEW, new suspension system for Anthony. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.